Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is a book. This is a book. It has my name on it. And the reason it has my name on it is because I wrote it. Oh, I know, right? My screen just went blank. Oh, Facebook. All right. Hang on for just a second because I just need to go to the other screen and refresh it and get us all set up so I can see your comments as almost as fast as you. Far off land there lived a king who had a beautiful daughter, the princess. This was the story my dad used to tell me every night when he I'm sorry. I do this every time, and I don't know why I'm not learning this. This particular software, first of all, tells me that my frames per second are too low, and then it suggests helpfully, as I am just beginning, that I should create another event. I'm working on this one. Shut up. Go away. Have coffee. Me and technology down by the schoolyard. Okay, so here's a book, and I want to tell you about this book very briefly because it's kind of an interesting thing. So it's that. Okay, market centrics. Long time ago, I was working for a publisher, not me, and she hired me to ghost and fix this book that was really quite awful. And when I had done the best I could with it, she said, "Well, that's a lot better." And she said, "I don't know how you like." And she sort of laughed because she had no idea who I was. I was working anonymously through this agency. And she said, "What could you possibly know about marketing?" So I said, "Okay, so that aside, here's my idea." And I told her what I was thinking, and there was this kind of silence on the phone, and she said, "Well, that's actually a very good idea. Who gave it to you?" I said, "No, nobody gave it to me. It's mine. It's what I do." And she said, "What do you mean it's what you do? You're an editor." And I said, "No, actually I'm not. I'm somebody else masquerading as an editor." And so here's what I had said to her. It was a book written by a woman who um, saved her money through, she worked with a mutual funds group, and she had decided to write a book to teach her children how to begin to learn to save money. And the idea was good. Her intention was good, and her suggestions were good. It was just the way she was saying it that was clumsy and awful, and so we fixed it. And the author was very pleased. Everybody was very pleased. And so what I had said to this publisher was, you're in Toronto, Canada, which is, for everybody watching who is living in another country entirely, there's a lot of financial stuff goes on in Toronto, and among that community, there are lots of organizations that sell mutual funds and whatnot. And I said, "You're a publisher. Why don't you go to each of the mutual fund companies and say that you will print this book with their they're going to buy them in bulk, and then their agents can give the book to their existing clients so that the existing clients can teach their kids how to invest money." And so she did, or at least she said she was going to do it. And then she said, "I love this idea. Why don't you write it?" And I said, "I don't need to write it. I can remember it. I do it all the time." She said, "No, put it in a book and I'll publish it." "Oh, really? Well, alrighty then." And so hence market centrics. And then she reneged on the contract. The contract was I would write it, she would publish it and promote me. And then she realized that was going to cost her a lot of money, and she said, "Okay, so I'll publish it, but you have to promote you." And I said, "Well, why am I giving you the bulk of the royalties if I'm promoting me? You're fired." Viking diplomacy. And so I took the book away and I took it off the market. So it was on Amazon for about 15 minutes, and then it was off. Because it's my book, and I was going to do it my way, obviously. And as I started to work with you lovely people on the concept of pivotry, I thought, I wonder if I have anything in market centrics that I can reference, I can, repurpose. And when I picked up the book and I started reading it, so I wrote it in 2006, which is a while ago, I realized that I was actually talking about pivoting, not pivotry. I was talking about profiling, and I was talking about matching your product or service to the other person's needs. And my primary thrust idea was people spend far too much time focusing on the competition. So if we just think about this as a business idea, if you spend all your time trying to one-up the competition, trying to be like the competition only in blue, whatever, you're not focusing on the person who's going to keep you in business. You're what they want. Why wouldn't you turn your focus to them and be market focused, market centric, rather than competitive? You don't have to compete if you're the only boat. If you're the only boat, you pretty much got a lock on all the people who want to get from here to there. So that was the book. And what I'm able to take from it is not about pivoting. It's about what pivoting isn't. So I have this. I haven't seen the book. It was in the filing cabinet, and I started reading. And I thought, well, look at that. I had ideas back then. So, and I felt very, I don't know, like I had just learned something about myself, which is an indication of a remarkably six. And I'm just noticing now. Um, oh well. So here's the big aha. I just teased before we started doing this. I had this insanely big um, light bulb moment. Backlighting, darling. Backlighting is always the best. I had this insanely big, oh, wow moment yesterday. Here's what happened. I was reading the Atlantic Monthly. I get a snippet of it in my email every few days. And this very clever fellow writing about why people seem to be behaving so badly right now. And I was reading it and reading it and reading it. And then at some point, he said a magic phrase of some kind. He said, when the COVID lockdown ended, and we emerged from our safe spaces, and rage and frustration and grief. And one of the reasons it's unspent and we have had no idea what to do with it is because this scenario, this situation, is considered by many to be unacceptable. Many people, both sides of the conversation, it is a real situation. It is not a real situation. People are doing the right thing. People are doing the wrong thing. I'm so done with it. All of that. This situation has been deemed unacceptable. And that means that everyone who has been impacted by it, and they're saying now that a handful of people who have been directly impacted by COVID, whether they became ill, whether they died, whether their business failed, whatever, whether their travel plans were, everyone knows a handful of people. So the ripple effect has hit us all. Our little boats are all bouncing with this ripple effect. And the thing is, we all are being told that it's not a legitimate event. In some way, it doesn't count. And as I read that, here was the light bulb. That was what happened after Vietnam. And I serve. But we were stationed in Europe. We were stationed in France. We just moved to France when France was getting out of the Vietnam conflict. And so the kids I met who were French, who lived there, who were welcoming new Canadians, were saying, it's not a war we can win. It's not a war we can win, and therefore we had to leave. At some point, France made the decision that this was an unwinnable conflict. And over there, people were on many sides of the conversation about whether their position going in or staying out was legitimate at all. So I had that conversation, and then we lived in Europe for a few years, and then we came home, and my dad decided that he was going to retire, and in his retirement he never wanted to shovel snow again, and so we left Canada and we moved to the United States, and we lived in Florida. And after I couldn't continue in the junior college down there because of the whole wrong books situation, I got a job and I moved to New York. And it was in New York that I started to meet people, American men and women who had been in Vietnam and had come home and were damaged and disillusioned, and many of them destroyed. Not because war was hell for the first time. War is hell. War brings out the worst. War forces us to experience the worst. It was because as the war progressed, it was considered the wrong thing to do, illegitimate by many people. And so the proud parents who might have served in the Second World War or Korea, or the grandparents who had served with distinction and dignity and valor and won medals, were puzzled, horrified, hurt, filled with rage that their brave young kids and grandkids weren't given the same respect. After Vietnam, people weren't saying thank you for your service. People weren't saying thank you for your sacrifice. It was a terrible moment. And I wasn't American. I was a stranger in a strange land. And I was seeing all of this from the other side. I had seen it on one side when we were in France, and now I was seeing the other side. And I knew people. I knew people whose lives were never the same. And that's what's going on now with COVID. Oh my God, what a light bulb moment. And what an incredible reason to have pivotry happening. What I've started to explain at the beginning of the book, I've started writing it because I have all your interviews and they're amazing. What I've started to explain is that a pivot is a thing we do to change gears, to change lanes, to turn on a dime and give 9 cents change when things around us are changing. It is how we maintain, how we stay with the herd, how we stay with the safety of the group and the group think. We learn to adapt. We discard what we were and take on what we will be. We become. Pivoting is how we become. That's what market centrics was all about, in a kind of a sneaky way, because I had introduced the idea of profiling. Not only watch which way the people are running and get in step with them like a relay race. No. Profiling is figuring out why they're running. Figure out why they're running, because then we can predict where they're going to run next, and we can be right there. That's what market centrics was about. Profiling and pivoting. Pivotry in motion, this quality within us that I have known that we have my whole life, is our ability to be a different version of ourselves in order to own our moment, in order to bring the most energy, the best ingredients to the mix. If we are the best and we bring the best, we're not following the herd. We're not blending in so that nobody can see us among the stampede. We're out in front. We get the best seat. We aren't part of an emerging trend. We are the emerging trend, and people follow us. That's pivotry. And why I think that matters so much is because of times like this. Times like this when so much is uncertain. And I posted this morning that horrible moment when you realize that life has no instructions and we're basically guessing. It explains so much about how often we get it wrong because we're guessing. It doesn't explain where the instructions are. How come we didn't get them? What, are they late in the mail? Are they back ordered? So pivotry, this is incredible ability we have, is this knack we have, this skill we have to tap into a quality that works right now in this moment like nothing you ever saw. We have that ability. We also have that ability to say, okay, that's done, and now we're going to do this. Watch and learn, boys and girls. And we can do that on the fly, on a dime. If you've ever watched improv actors, watch their eyes. They're always alert and watching how the wind is shifting and how they're going to just morph themselves a little, transmogrify to be ahead of what's happening. We all have that ability, and we are the only creatures on the planet that have it. And the difference between somebody like me and some of you is that I've been paid to do it. I've been paid to do it as an actor. Hello, Abby, we'd like you to be mom today. Well, all right, dear, should I bring my gloves? Hello, Abby, we want you to be friend bear today. All right, I'll be out right there. Hang on, I'll save you. Not the same, and yet exactly the same, because they're all me. They're all parts of me. Well, we're not going to pay you to be mom. We're going to pay you to be Eleanor Tweeg. Alrighty then. I will bring Eleanor with me, front and center. I knew I was shifting between personas. I knew I was doing it because somebody asked me to, and I'd done it before. So the difference between me and you is that you haven't noticed you're doing it. Since you can't see it, and you haven't paid attention to it because you just do it, you're not aware. If you're not aware, you can't perfect it. You can't polish it. You can't focus on it. And you can't say, I did that rather well today, because you don't know you're doing it. What we need right now in this, somebody please give me the instructions, moment in time, is that feeling of confidence that if we don't quite get it yet, we're going to get it in a minute, and we're going to be fine. We are. We're not useless. We're not a waste of space. We matter. We have something to bring to the table that this tribe needs, which means we're safe. As long as we're essential, we're safe. You see where I'm going with this? The cave brain activates in times of panic, in times of confusion, in times of struggle. That's the brain that rises and defends. Freeze, hide, fight, flee, comply. That's the cave brain. The cave brain is not that good at diplomacy. That's not the cave brain's job. The cave brain's job is to keep us alive. Fairly primitive, fairly fundamental. At this moment in time, more than ever before in our conscious memory, we have needed all three parts of our brain working together, collaborating, because it's a very confusing time. And we have the skill, we have the tools, we have the insights, we have the facility to shift, to lean in, to lean back, to transmogrify. We are shapeshifters in that way. We can be any of our component parts at any moment in time. This is a huge thing to recognize, to realize, to believe. And one of the reasons that I've stumbled on this whole pivotry thing just happened. A little thing came up on my screen that said you're currently offline. So if it froze, sorry about that, but I'm back. So what is really It now says my internet connection was restored. So if you lost me for a minute, here I am. See what I mean about troubled, confusing times? Here's what's really important to recognize. I used to do stand-up comedy. That's not the thing that's important to recognize. That might be the thing to run in fear from, or to say, oh, well, that explains a lot. What's important to recognize is that the story we tell ourselves and the stories we tell each other are all driven by the same basic need. When I did stand-up comedy, I would walk out in my little black dress and my earrings and say, the only thing I have ever wanted was to get through life with my dignity intact. And then I would smile. And then I would say, so far it's not working. And then I would smile. And the audience would laugh, because I had just said two things that are true about all of us. We just want to get through life with our dignity intact. So far, not working. And the reason I said that is because if we are feeling good about ourselves, if we feel that we are respected, that's the conscious brain talking. What that means to the cave brain is that we have value. We have value to the tribe. We have value to the alpha. The likelihood is good, greater than 50%, that we will not be thrown out of the cave where the saber-toothed whatnots are waiting for lunch. Dignity and respect give us a sense of success. When we are disrespected, it's a new familiar phrase, when we are disrespected by others, people are doing the most amazing things. We used to take off a glove and smack somebody. Now people pull out a weapon and smack somebody a little harder. Why is that? Why are we doing it harder? Why are we hitting harder? Why are we reacting with more rage? Why are we at the end of our ropes? Because we're afraid. Because the ground is not solid beneath our feet. The sands are shifting. There's no instructions. And it's not working the way we thought it would. It's not looking like what we had in mind. That would illustrate how humiliating I had been. It had been. Things had been. And people would laugh. Some of them laughed because they were thinking better her than me. Others were laughing because I had basically just described them. Usually when I did stand up, I would throw in a punch, a gut punch that they weren't expecting. Because while I had them laughing, I knew that the next thing I said they would take with them and think about, and with any luck, apply it to their lives. My goal the whole time was to make them feel safe, was to make them feel good about themselves, was to bask in the joy of the positive endorphins and say, that was a good time. Let's do that again. And maybe we'll bring our friends. That's the number one rule in marketing. Make them glad they came. Make them so glad they come again. Make them even gladder and proud. Yeah. We pleased with their own cleverness for choosing you, that they choose you again. Do you like that? Give people a reason to feel so clever because they chose you, that they will line up to choose you again. That's the first rule of marketing. That's the first rule of pivotry. That's the first rule of profiling. And it's my gift to you. You know why? It's my anniversary. Not only did I survive the odds that I would probably die at the age of 18, I'm thriving. Why? Because, well, if death was probable and I didn't die, I can afford to be fearless. I can afford to say, well, let's give that a try. What if? And I think that's where we all are right now. Right now, we have dodged some bullets. We have survived something terrifying. We have opened our eyes each morning, looked around and said, ooh, we're still here. All right. And we can try again. We can get up and do it again. We can feel good about doing it better because we're here. We made it so far. We're alive. What does that mean for the people who are living with this rage, this it's not fair thing going on? It means that the more focused we are on the good that we've got, the calmer the waters around us. We are not contributing to drama and fear and yelling. We are working it. We are walking here. We are making it mine. We're making it ours because we can, and we're not buying in to the panic and fear. If you have had something happen to you, and I maintain that if we make it past the age of 5, we've all had something. We've all lost something. We've all been terrified by something. We've all been threatened by something. All of us, every single one of us. And when we want to talk about it, when we need to talk about it, what we don't need when we open up is anyone diminishing how it felt. We don't need somebody saying, oh yeah, I had that last week. Shut up. I'm sure you did. But right now, we're talking about mine. We're talking about this thing that I didn't know I would survive, and I'm making it. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I don't need to hear about, oh yeah, we we've had it. We've all done it. Why would you do that? Why would you put down someone else's fist pump? Why would you diminish someone else's spike the ball moment? Why would you say to someone who put their life on the line, yeah, well, everybody knows that's not real. Why would you do that? Do you really think that by doing that, you will be elevated in the tribe? You will be closer to the alpha by making the other people irrelevant? It's not how it works. It's not how it works. A tribe is a network. A tribe is a unit. A tribe is a process. A tribe is ingredients in a mix. If you, in this mix, say, well, we don't need flour and we don't need eggs, how do you know? How do you know? You don't know. You're guessing. And you're wrong. Just saying. So, my video today is a celebration. 40th anniversary. 40th video. 14th day of birthday month. It's a celebration of who I am in all my many parts. It's a celebration of all us people who live inside. And I'm sharing my celebration with you because we're just the same. We're exactly alike. I'll tell you one thing I learned that was pretty huge when we went to Europe. I lived in Canada, different provinces, people speaking different languages, having different cultures. Then I went to Europe. And there were significant changes in my concept of normal that I came face to face with. And after we lived in one country, we went and lived in another. And on vacation, we went to a whole bunch of other countries. And I made a discovery when I was pretty young. The only thing that separates us is the little cultural habits we learn. That's it. We're all human. We all have the same basic survival needs and the same basic human drives. We want to get through life with our dignity intact. We want to be part of the tribe. We want to make the alpha proud. And we want to feel joy inside. Pretty simple, really. We may do it by driving on that side of the road and causing people from Canada the utmost damned astonishment. We may do it by celebrating a religion differently. We may speak a completely different language. For a very long time, I secretly thought that if you woke people in the middle of the night, they wouldn't speak whatever that was. They would talk just like me. I don't know why I thought that. And there's a tiny part of me that still kind of suspects it, but I try not to tell it to too many people, except, I don't know, all over Facebook and YouTube and everything right now. I think that if I suspect it, probably a lot of people suspect it. I know that when we traveled, I saw habits and customs and behaviors I'd never seen before. And I didn't think they were wrong. They were just vastly different. They certainly weren't like anything I'd ever tried. Did that make us different? Did that make us, these people, them and me, we, different? It meant that we had come from different tribes. But when I arrived in Europe and I joined the tribe temporarily, it's all temporary, I had to learn how to make it all work, make it come together. And I had to choose to be part of the herd or find my way to lead on the path I wanted to follow. That was my choice. That is our choice. The groupthink thing feels really safe. Safety in numbers. Follow what they do without question? Not so much. You kind of want to ask why, and then choose to follow, or choose to take the lead. This is what pivotry gives us. This is our gift. And as these books come together, as they evolve, first book basically defines it. We have the 4 books featuring my amazing interviews. The final book is the workbook, the how-to, the steps to look at and say, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot to do that. It is a guidebook. It is the instruction book that I've been missing my whole life. When I did stand up, I guess this is a good way to bring this to a close. When I did stand up, I used to say to people for the longest time, I believed there was a book of life, an instruction book. I also believed that everybody else got a copy of the book because everywhere I looked, people seemed to know what they were doing. The reason I felt that they all got a copy of the book was that I knew that I didn't have the faintest idea what I was doing, and there was a vast difference between us, and it had to be the book. And I figured that the reason I didn't get the book wasn't because I wasn't worthy, that it was most probably because, well, we moved so much that it was just at some holding office, at some post office somewhere 6 countries back, and it would reach me eventually. And when I said that in these stand-up evenings, people learned something fairly interesting about me and about themselves. They learned that I wasn't a stand-up comic. They learned that I was a storyteller, that I was a philosopher, that I was a navigator, just trying to get through with my dignity intact. And they realized that I was holding up a mirror to them. I am you. I just do it with red hair, falling sideways through doors. We are in this together because we are together. And all we want is to get through with our dignity intact. I posted before that the fact of life is the fundamental things apply. We want to be cherished. We want to matter. We want to be heard. We want to belong. We want to feel excited about our todays and our tomorrows. And we want to be proud of our past. See? We're all the same. Okay, look at the time. You know what I did? I got so caught up, I did not comment on any of you, and I so apologize. So let me just go back. Steve, good morning. Garen, yeah. Good morning, Lyle. Good morning, all of you. I apologize. I got sucked down this rabbit hole of life, and I should have kept the other eye on the prize. And the prize for me, the gift for me, is all of you. '40th video. You know what that means next week? 41 and 42. Okay, so a couple of cool things. I'm still waiting on one thing to come, with my fingers and toes crossed, for the live event in Cornwall, Ontario. And if it comes, it's going to be hysterical, and I will love it. And if it doesn't come for Cornwall, it'll come for Brockville, and I'll be able to tell you all about it then. The other thing is that the interviews are amazing. The fact that you have shared such personal and important insights on your lives is incredible. It's an incredible gift to me, because it means that you are ready to share them, and you are willing to share them with me, because there's some thing about our connection that makes you feel safe. And if that's Mom, if that's, are you wearing clean underwear, dear? If it's a Care Bear, if it's any of those, am I really? So I want to thank you for being willing to open up and talk to me about such personal stuff. It's going to be amazing. When I've had the chance to go through them and get something properly organized on paper, I'll be getting back to you. We're going to be polishing it until you're exactly happy. And then we'll be moving closer and closer to our finish line. The other thing is that, well, Saturday is Easter. I've had a long history with rabbits. I looked like a rabbit as a child. And every Halloween, my parents would dress me as a bunny rabbit. I was a very cute bunny rabbit, big floppy ears. And I would just go and stand in doorways with my big eyes and my floppy teeth and say, hello. And people would hurl candy at me. And then I, kind of hopped my way through a variety of things. And then there was that first brush with, did I want to be famous in a magazine? And I said, no, thank you very much. I'm going to go and stand over here now. You've just made me very nervous. Involved in a magazine to that extent. And here I am. It's my birthday on Easter. Bunnies prevail. What am I doing for my birthday? I'm doing the thing I love the most. I'm writing and talking and sharing with people exactly like you. That's the reason I came. That's the reason we all came. So, in between today and Tuesday next week, it's still birthday month, by the way. I'm still posting that ram with the hat. You're not off the hook. We're doing it till the end of April. I love him. Until then, there's stuff. It's snowing in the western part of Canada and the northern United States. So spring is being a reluctant dragon, as are so many people that we are trying to get good with and work with. A lot of things are opening up. A lot of things are changing, and a lot of new evidence of stuff still not working is coming to light. So, and when I say another, there's a lot of stuff. That article I read, people are coming out of hibernation, out of lockdown, with their rage and their frustration and their helplessness and their disrespected grief intact. Are they acting out? Why, yes, boys and girls, they are. They're spitting on people. They're kicking. They're yelling. They're grown people are screaming, "You're not the boss of me." Why? Because they're reverting to the cave brain, and it's all they know. And what we can do we who can see this, we can take a deep breath, let it out, hold on to our knowledge that we're safe, and allow that calm, allow that gratitude, allow that joy to gentle the ripples in our orbit. And if enough of us do that, if enough of us gentle the ripples in our orbit, people who are still in fear mode, in panic mode, in rage mode, will sense that the wind has shifted and the tide has turned, and they're going to be okay. That's our birthday gift month to them. We are giving them our calm. We are giving them our respect. Don't you think? Me too. Okay. It is time to be good to you. Why? Well, why not? It's not fattening, doesn't cause calories. You look amazing. Be good to you. Be really good to you. Next time you pass the mirror, look in the mirror. Look at those eyes in the mirror and say, be good to you. Maybe do it when nobody can hear you, because you deserve it. And then surprise the living daylights out of your loved ones and hug them. Hug them. Don't ask them why they're late. They'll tell you why they're late. Don't complain. They love you back. Don't complain. They're last few times. Comment, please. Make a comment of some kind. It doesn't have to be now. It doesn't have to be immediate. But make a comment. Why? Because other people see your comments. And it gives people permission to say, well, maybe I should watch next time. Because I have this boat. It's really big. And there's room for everyone inside. We need to get them off the dock so we can all row from here to the other side. Okay? Have an amazing weekend. Be safe. I'll see you next time.